Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm trying to return to you for another video, and hopefully you'll enjoy this one too. It's for the Throwback movie reviews, season 4 recap videos. I think it's going to be a two-part video. I don't know for sure, but I will let you know how many parts I got to make for this. The next two parts, or the next part, will probably be in the morning sometime, so probably like 10 or 11 is when I'll record it. So pretty much I'm going to discuss what I'm going to be talking about of the movies I reviewed for this whole season, and let you know my thoughts on each movie that I did a throwback movie review on. So let's dive into this recap video. Now, basically, I started with episode 1, which is the 1517 to Paris. I thought that was a disappointing movie. I mean, it's based on true events that happened, but I wasn't crazy for it. It was disappointing for how it was, so I think I gave it like a 5.5 out of 10. This wasn't that great, and majority of the movie felt very stale and boring. So, yeah, it was a miss for me. Then comes Dangerous Minds, episode 2 that I did on June 5th, and I actually thought it was an average movie, mostly. Almost said album for a moment. It's an average movie for what I went for. It wasn't the best. Michelle Pfeiffer's character was pretty good, and the story was pretty interesting about troublemaking kids, and Michelle Pfeiffer has to be their substitute teacher and teach them the rights from wrongs and how to be successful so they can go to college and all that stuff. So basically, it's a class that was not really giving it a chance at the beginning until they started really getting to know Michelle Pfeiffer's character and the teacher that she was playing. So pretty much, it was an interesting story and average movie. So that was episode 2 I reviewed. Episode 3 was for Ant-Man. I reviewed this on June 12th, and I thought it was a good movie for what it went for. I wouldn't say it was the best movie. I don't know. Michael Pena's character made too many frickin' jokes and went into like a story within a story kind of thing he was telling to Paul Rudd's character, Ant-Man. I don't know. This was just... it was good, but that was the only critique I had with the movie. So, that was episode 3 I did. Episode 4 was for Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. This was a good movie. It took me a little bit of time to get used to the characters. When I tried showing my mom this, she wasn't a fan of it. But I said, everyone has their preferences with movies, but this was actually a good film, and it was the Suicide Squad in 2021 was the last film to have Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in it, and I'd like to see her as Harley Quinn again, because she's a good actress. I mean, I know she was in that Barbie movie this year, which, honestly, I did not hate, but I wouldn't say it's the best film that I've watched this year, but it's a good film. So, pretty much, that was episode 4 I did. Episode 5 was for Dracula Untold. I thought this movie was okay. It wasn't the best movie, but it performed okay. I think, Luke Evans' character as Vlad the Impaler, also known as Count Dracula, he becomes and all that later on. So pretty much it's a story about him saving his family and his kingdom mostly from the Turks, and he's just trying to get the strength to defeat them all, and he does get the power of immortality, but at a cost. Like, he has to drink human blood and all that stuff, so it's pretty messed up. But still, the movie performed okay. So, that was episode 5 I did. Episode 6 was for Rush Hour 2. I thought that was a pretty funny movie and pretty good movie. The jokes landed with this one, and I really like this film. Chris Tucker is probably one of my favorite actors and comedians that I've watched and listened to, um, like watched on the big screen and all that stuff. So it's pretty interesting. His character was pretty funny. That's all I can say. And Jackie Chan was funny from time to time with his side jokes, I guess. But still, the action scenes were great in this film, and this film did pretty well. So that was a good film in my opinion. So episode 6 was for Rush Hour 2. Then I did episode 7 for Ant-Man and the Wasp. I did rewatch it again, and I thought that was, well, I'm going to be honest with you, it was one of the weaker films. This was probably a 7 out of 10. I don't know. This one just relied too much on... the story was a little iffy. It wasn't the worst movie, but I might have overhyped it a bit too much, giving it a really good rating. And for that, I am sorry, but I'm going to have to give it the same rating I gave it back in 2018, which is a 7 out of 10. So it is a 7 out of 10 as of now. So yeah, it's one of the weaker Ant-Man movies. And the new Ant-Man movie I thought was pretty good for what the story was going for. But I know a lot of people say it's the worst Ant-Man film and kind of forgettable. Yeah, it's a movie we're not going to really come back to, I'll be honest. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is not a movie we'll come back to since 2023 is almost over. It's not something that's going to be remembered in the next year or so. So it's a movie that came and went, mostly. So Ant-Man and the Wasp was episode 7 I did. Episode 8 was Collateral with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx. I actually thought this was a pretty good film. Yeah, the storyline is really interesting, and Jamie Foxx's character, he was the highlight for this movie. Tom Cruise as a bad guy, he was okay. I think it was tolerable for the movie that was presented for this one. So this is a pretty good film. So that was episode 8 I did on July 17th. Episode 9 was for Constantine, the Keanu Reeves movie. I did that on July 24th. I thought it was a pretty good film. It's a shame they didn't make a sequel. I don't know, they're hinting about a sequel, but I don't think that's going to even happen because they decided to cancel it at the last minute, saying, I don't think we want to do it now. So kind of make a decision, Hollywood, and stick with it, because you're alternating and being indecisive about it. So pretty much, Constantine was a pretty good film. I liked the cast in it. Shia LaBeouf in it was alright, so, but he didn't make it very long. He made it to the end of the movie, but you'll see as Chaz meets his demise by an archangel. So basically, this was a pretty good film, and that was episode 9 I did. Episode 10 was for Wild Card, and that was, I don't know, this one was very bad. I like Jason Statham in this movie, and it is a Jason Statham film, but this one was very weak. It was probably one of the worst films I've seen in his entire movie discography. So this was probably the weakest movie I've seen in a Jason Statham film. It was a 5 out of 10, I think, is what I gave it. I don't know, this film just didn't really strike me as good. It was very disappointing. So, yeah, I reviewed it to give it a shot. I wasn't a fan. That's the end of it. So, that's what the movie I reviewed for episode 10 on July 31st. Episode 11 was for Creed, the Michael B. Jordan film. I actually found this to be a really good film. Very inspirational and very uplifting of a film. Basically, he's fighting this guy for the championship, and he first basically loses the first fight, then he gets back up and fights him again and wins the title mostly, so for heavyweight championship and all that. So this was a pretty good film. So Yeah, I think I gave it a 9 out of 10. I can't remember, but it was a good film, really good film. So I reviewed that on August 7th for episode 11. Episode 12 was for Transformers. I thought it was a okay film. Some of the moments with Megan Fox was pretty weak, and Shia LaBeouf's character. It's a shame. The main characters were the worst part of this movie for this film. The next film was a little different. So basically, this is gonna be a piss poor film. It wasn't terrible. It was okay. The action scenes are what made it bearable to watch, but some of the characters in this film were not great, but they performed all right. Except for Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox, they kind of ruined the film a little bit in the reception. So 6.5 out of 10, and I think Transformers I reviewed on August 14th, and yeah. The next one is episode 13 for the Hunger Games. I did this on August 21st for episode 13, and I thought this was a pretty good film. I wouldn't say it was one of my favorites, but it is pretty good. It's a good film to continue, start a series of movies, so yeah. I enjoyed the storyline for what it went for, and Jennifer Lawrence's performance was great in this film. So, yeah, 8.5 out of 10, and definitely check out my throwback movie review episode for this. I think you'll enjoy it. So that was episode 13 I did. Episode 14 was for War, and that was actually a meh movie. I don't know. This film didn't really strike me as amazing. This is another weak Jason Statham and Jet Li film. It was in the middle with me, but it wasn't great. So definitely check out my episode review for this one. So that's episode 14 I did on August 28th, and I'll talk about one more and then one or two more, and then I'm gonna wrap it up and finish the rest for the next video tomorrow. So episode 15 is for Sicario, with Benicio del Toro, Josh Brolin, and Emily Blunt is in this, along with Daniel Kaluuya. I think this film was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed the storyline behind it, and sorry about the meow. That's my sister's cat. Gotta let him in a moment. So, this is a good film. A pretty good film. I like the story behind it, and the ending is what surprises you, where you find out that Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro are not really good guys. So, basically, yeah. That was episode 15 I did on September 11th. I took a week's break because I didn't want to review it on the 4th because of it being Labor Day that day, so I skipped it and did it the next week. So basically, yeah, that was episode 15. So with that being said, guys, I will have to continue this thing tomorrow. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and sorry about that. My mom was distracting me for a moment. I will have to finish this video for the second part tomorrow, so hopefully you enjoyed this special video and for the recap video, and I'm sorry about the background noise. I was trying to, like, my mom distracted me for a moment, and I am so sorry about that, but still, hopefully you enjoyed this throwback movie review season 4 recap video. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Have a good night, guys, and I'll see you in part 2 tomorrow.